As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams. As I look upon my life, there's a passion inside. Heaven knows I'm living my dreams.
Good morning, everybody. Yay, man. Greetings to you on this beautiful sunny Thursday. We are so happy to be with you, and this morning we are so excited because we have someone special in the studio this morning with us who actually wrote a book. Yeah, this book, this is a must. This is a must, guys. It's a must read. So I would really suggest you getting the book. The book is $2.20 for one book. So yeah, if you guys can just get the book after the show, let us know. You know, we chat on YouTube, on Facebook. If you have my WhatsApp number, the majority of you have my WhatsApp number. So if you can just WhatsApp us, I'm sure my guest will be able to give her contact details if you want the book. So I would suggest you getting the book because there's a lot of things in this book that can actually help every person. Honestly speaking, I went through the book and I really thoroughly enjoyed the book. It's a type of book that you don't want to put down. So yeah, we just want to greet you this morning and say we hope that you have a super Thursday. You are on the Inside Show with none other than Talk with Joan Thursdays. And that is how we're going to roll here this morning. It's a beautiful day. So yes, let our spirits be beautiful. And we know with Christ all things are possible, right? So we don't actually allow the enemy to get us under because we are more than conquerors through Jesus Christ who gives us strength, right? So that is how we're going to roll this morning. So I'm going to give my guests, and while I'm going to give them and they're going to talk, I really want you to take out your mirror because my question for you this morning is actually, so what do you do intentionally, right, to actually when you're under pressure? What do you do intentionally when you're under pressure, right, to just calm that nerves and that pressure or that atmosphere? You know what I'm saying? Because we're actually talking on the book 11 Years of Nappies. Very captivating, right? This topic just grips you. 11 years of nappies? Really? Yeah. So it is choosing to live intentionally, right? So that is why that's the topic for this morning. So I'm going to give my guest an opportunity, first and foremost, to introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, what's your name, you're married, how many children, and so on and so on.
Firstly, thank you, Pastor Joan. Thank you, Pastor Violet, for having me. I am humbled and very grateful to be here. So I am Simone Phillips. I am married for 18 years. I have four incredible children, 2 boys and 2 girls. I am a published author, as you mentioned. I'm a blogger, a motivational speaker, as well as a content creator. Yeah, that's me.
Wonderful. Welcome in the studio with us. I'm excited to actually go through your book, honestly speaking.
Thank you.
And then my co-host is here.
Yeah, I'm here. Arrived late, but I'm here. So good morning, everyone. It's always a pleasure to be on the show with the Talk with Joan show on a Thursday morning. And I hope you are excited to hear our conversation this morning because I am sitting on the edge of the chair. Can't wait for Simone to share her story because like Joan said, just the topic, the title alone captured me.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That was just like, so everybody's working out. So if I have 3 children, so how many years of nappies is that? So, okay, so we are excited to have Simone here. Simone, can't wait to ask you all the right questions on behalf of our listeners. So, yeah, I'm sure, John, are we diving right into the mirror thing or?
We're diving into the mirror.
Immediately, so Simone, you skip that part. Okay. So you want to go first with your reflection then?
Yes. So for me, what I do intentionally when I feel pressurized or stressed is, I think firstly writing. For me, writing has taught me or given me an outlet. It's very therapeutic. And then I think for me, music has always been a big thing for me, and if you've read my book, you'll understand why I say that. So for me, singing out loud. Look, I am no singer
Right.
at all, but for me, singing out loud to all my favorite songs just kind of calms me down and just makes me feel good. And I feel like for me, music and singing out loud is absolutely good for my mental health.
Awesome. Wonderful.
Simone, I'm not stealing your thing, but the God's honest truth is that that's mine too. When I'm stressed out, music is my, especially worship songs. I love listening to worship songs. And if I find a song that resonates with my spirit, I play it over and over again until I convince myself, Violet, you're going to be okay.
Yes.
You're going to be fine. Things are going to work out. And then I, pep talk myself. I talk to myself and I say, Violet, things are going to work out and don't worry.
Yeah.
So I think listening to music and talking to myself. My self-talk is very important because I believe that gets us back in line.
very
That
true,
gets
eh?
us focused again, And I think something about your book, there's a word I spoke to Joan about it. I said that it's the word intentional.
Yeah.
Okay, I know there's a whole story, but just that word intentional gripped me. And so we're going to talk about that.
I'm so happy, guys, because you know what? It is always good when you're under pressure to have an outlet.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
actually the best thing to do.
Yes.
Instead of venting,
Yes.
Right.
throwing your toys out of the cot
Yes.
when you're in that moment of rage, when you're in that moment of pressure. A lot of people take their refuges to different things.
Yes.
Others
Grab
take
a
alcohol,
cigarette,
others a cigarette,
Yeah.
just to calm the nerves. But it's the best thing. I think music is one of the things that actually is one of the things that just calms your spirit,
Agree
to be
with you.
quite honest with you.
Yes.
I have a tendency of using the mirror.
Yeah.
And that is why I have the mirror on my show.
Yeah.
I have a tendency of when I'm under pressure
Yeah.
to speak to myself in the
Yeah.
mirror and say,
Nice.
girl, kykie man.
Yeah.
Ruk yourself net
Yeah.
reg.
Luister
You know what
nou.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You're going to make it. You're going to make
Yes,
it.
yes.
You know, that self-talk
Yes.
is very important. Very important. So I would suggest you do something when you're under pressure and don't allow the enemy to take control
Yes.
of your emotions, to take
Yeah.
control. You have to take control of your own emotions.
Yes.
And that is the topic for this morning. What do you do intentionally? So you're choosing to live intentionally,
Yes.
right? So it is vitally important. Listen, guys, life happens, and life happens every day.
Yes.
So it is what you do,
Yes.
and what you draw
Absolutely.
out
Yes.
of the lessons that
Right.
life. And I like it
And how
because
you
in your
act.
book you have lessons.
Yes.
And that's why I just love the book. I just
Yes.
love it.
Yeah.
I just browse through it quickly. That's a speed reading.
And it's easy reading.
Yes.
It's very easy.
Very
Very
easy.
easy.
Yeah.
I had to, my husband speaks about speed reading.
Yeah.
I had to actually speed read.
Yeah,
Yesterday I've learned
yeah.
how to speed read.
Yes.
And we were together, so I
Yeah.
was just like, boom, choop, choop,
Yeah,
choop,
yeah,
through the book.
Yeah.
So we're going to have an awesome conversation with Simone Phillips in the house.
Yes.
And we are so excited because, guys, you will never know what it... Only when you know me now, you will know how I feel when my very own,
Yeah.
get somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. And let me not go any further because hence you say I'm racist. I'm not. So that is us, guys. So my first question to you is, why this title, 11 Years of Nappies?
Yes. I wanna
Because
know
honestly
too.
speaking, when you look at it, it's like, for real?
Did she have 11 children? That was my first thing.
How was she on nappies or what?
Who
That
was
was
on
my
nappies?
thing.
Yeah.
Was she ill?
Yeah.
She's ill for 11 years and
Yes.
she wore nappies for 11 years. Or what was the actual thing?
Yes,
You
yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, that is why 11 years of nappies.
You know, funny enough, Pastor Joan, that's the first question a lot of people ask.
Yeah.
And for me, the title was easy because we've got 4 kids.
Yeah.
So the 3 is 2 years apart, and then the last 2, the girls, is 3 years apart. So
Say that again. 3 children.
we've
Four.
it's 4,
Four.
but the 3 is 2 years apart, and then the last 2. I mean, the first 3 is 2 years apart, and the last 2 is 3 years apart. So for 11 consecutive years,
Yeah,
we
yo.
had 2 on nappies all the time.
Wow.
There was no break where it's like, okay, couple of months, yeah, no. So you had toddler and newborn for 11 consecutive years. So that was the story, that was the journey. So when it was time to come up with a title for the book, when the book was done, there was a whole lot of titles going through my head. And then at the end, myself and my publisher was like, you know what? 11 years of nappies it is. Not only is it a captivating,
Yeah, it's very
Yes.
captivating.
you know, it will have people like questioning,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is
They would
this
want
about?
to-
Yes.
Yeah,
to
because
find
that
out
is
what-
exactly what happened
Yes.
to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, when I
Yeah, heard
checked the book, I
Yeah.
said,
I want to know more.
okay, okay. So
So how did you
uh,
cope with that?
11 years of nappies.
11
goodness.
years.
Not easy because, as I talk about it in the book, there was no support structure. So
Yeah.
there was no mom and grannies and aunties and, you know,
Yeah.
to help. So for me, when I say myself and my husband raised our 4 kids by ourselves,
That's
that's
exactly-
exactly what I mean. Like from pregnancy, birth, your 6 weeks in bed, all of those things, we did it by ourselves. So when I say it was not easy,
It was really
it
not
was
easy.
really not easy.
No, it's not, because that's the first thing any girl wants is
Yes.
a mom.
Yes.
Somebody to rely on,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually very important for you to then have some,
Absolutely.
someone,
Yes.
especially with your first child.
Yes.
You really don't know what is happening.
Yes.
You know, you don't know how to bath this
Yes,
child. You don't
yes.
know. You're so dumb, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're so young.
Exactly.
You know, and you need people actually to be there for you.
yes.
And I wanna ask you, man. There's something that I really loved, is the songs.
Yeah.
What's the significance of the songs?
Right.
So
Before
going-
every chapter.
Yes.
Guys, before every chapter there's a song. There's
Yeah.
a song that is actually
Even
in
like
the
a
in the
koortjie, eh?
beginning.
Yes.
And I just like it. There's one of Crystal's
Yes.
koortjies also on
yes.
here.
Yes. So again, music being my go-to. Whenever I was going through things, there was a song,
Yeah.
as you said,
Yeah.
that you play on repeat.
Yes.
Where you talk to yourself and like, okay, we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
So for me, when I was writing the book, I said to my publisher, music has to be incorporated in here somehow. So the nice thing is that we've got the QR code on there where you can actually scan
Yeah.
and listen to the song while you're reading the chapter.
That is
Oh,
So for me,
awesome.
that was like,
Okay,
that was a
wonderful.
bonus on top
Beautiful.
of, you know,
I
so,
love
so
that.
just
I
so that
saw
when you're
that.
reading the book,
Yeah,
you,
you
can, hear the song, not just see the
I see
lyrics
there's
in the
some
book.
of the lyrics
Yes.
in this, yeah.
Yes.
So for me, it was the moment that I found myself in, and that's the song that
Yeah.
carried me through that particular season.
Okay, so which means there's a significance with the song and then the chapter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? So I like that. So why shackles?
Yeah.
Why shackles
Why?
with bloodline?
Right.
Because shackle speaks about I was tied up,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and the shackles was
Strongholds,
loosened.
yeah.
So why that specific song with bloodline?
I think for me, when I look back and think about my childhood, there's that one defining moment
Yeah.
that always comes to mind. And that's the day I was involved in the car accident. And the day the car accident happened is the very moment we were listening to Mary Mary's Shackles.
Okay.
So being in the accident, waking
That
up
was a
couple,
famous song then,
yes,
eh?
waking up a couple of days later in hospital, like what happened? Doctors are like, we don't know how you survived. We don't even know how you're not paralyzed and all these things. So I think for me, Shackles will always take me back to that moment.
Okay.
That moment being that, you know what? You could have been gone or you could have been paralyzed.
Right.
But in that moment, God had you.
Yes.
So Shackles, whenever I hear it, takes me right back to that moment.
yeah, take the
Yeah.
shackles
Yes.
off my feet so I can dance.
And
I
that was
just
a- that
want to
was a
praise
famous-
you.
It was.
We used to dance that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dancers used to do
So the-
shackles.
Can I go back to the bloodline again?
Yeah.
Like the bloodline. How is your when I think of bloodline, I always think of family.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, your-
because that is
yeah.
actually what she's talking
Yes.
about.
Yeah.
in
So
in the
so
book.
what was your relationship with your family like, or what is it? Or I mean, you can say was, is.
I think if I say was, growing up, we grew up in church.
Yeah.
So we were in church Sunday to Sunday. Whether you were writing exams, doesn't
Yeah.
matter, we were in church. So I think being in church as much as we were, you kind of get home and it's bedtime, it's
Yeah.
homework time, you get to play a little bit and then, it's done. There was no coming together,
Yeah.
family, talking, conversating, how are you? So all I knew in my childhood was we're going to church. And I think for me, that's where the disconnect stemmed from when it comes to family. Because now in your mind, growing up, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how family is supposed to be. We don't really talk, we don't communicate. I mean, I never had a relationship with my
Yeah.
mother growing up. As much as we were in church, we never used to have
Conversations.
conversations.
Open conversations.
Not even just open, just how are you doing? Like,
Oh.
how is school? Is there anything that you're going through that I can help you with? For me, I think it's a normal conversation because I do it with my daughters. But for me, I never had that. Never had.
Was your parents like in church as leaders?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And for me, I always struggled with, I know what I see in church. I know what I'm reading, what God requires, what He wants. But then when we get home, it's a very different environment as opposed to
Right.
what we are taught. on
Right.
the one
That
end.
speaks volumes,
It
right?
does.
So I was always confused as a child because now, like, yes, we're going to church, we are worshiping, we're part of the spiritual dance group, and, my mother's preaching, my dad is an elder.
Wow.
Then we get home and it's ice cold. So I could never understand,
Yeah.
so I always had the struggle, like, is it supposed to be like this? Like,
Yeah.
so I always battled with that. And family is something I never knew until I got married and had my kids. As much as I have 4 siblings, 2 parents, I never knew what family means.
Wow.
And people are like, but you had siblings, you had parents. Honestly, I didn't know family. I don't know, for example, what it means or what it feels like to have a present mother.
Wow.
That's there, that you can call and say, listen, this and this is happening.
Yeah.
What can I do? What should I do? I don't know what that feels like.
I understand now.
And Reza, you can, I can actually somehow,
I
getting
feel
that,
you.
you can actually somehow resonate with certain things because I think in the majority of Christian homes, you still find that.
Yeah.
That disconnect, you know what I'm saying,
Yes.
between children and parents because religion came in and it's some sort of a disconnect with the reality of what is happening in the home, and that is it's a red flag, right?
Absolutely, and it's not supposed to be
No,
like
it's
that.
not.
I grew up in a parents' home where my parents are like a PK, pastor's child kid, but I vividly remember my parents being able to balance it because that is what I
me
want
too.
to get
Nice.
to you. Like our parents were very busy. They lived for the Lord.
Yes.
We had to sleep under the benches. You know that story.
Yeah, yeah.
Sleep under the
Yes.
benches. Get a hiding. The one
Yes.
would be taken out if you dare,
Yes,
make
make
a
a
noise.
noise.
My dad would come from the pulpit and take you and give you a spanking,
Yeah,
and
you
then
can
you must
ask
go
my
sit and
children.
keep,
I was like that
and keep your
also.
mouth. Be
Yes.
quiet. But what I do remember is the warmth in the home.
That's
so
true.
they managed somehow, and they were very strict.
Yes.
But I remember good times with them, and I remember my mom and dad both being there for us, being very protective. So
Yeah.
I just took it you had a very sheltered life when you said church. Can you see the misconception?
Yes.
Grew
Yes.
up in church, immediately we
Sheltered.
think sheltered,
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah,
Church.
yeah. Because that's what you think.
Yes.
That's what I-
But
Perception.
but I saw
Yeah.
the disconnect in some families.
Yeah.
To be
Wow.
quite honest with you,
Wow,
I've
yes,
seen it
years
in
of
many
experience.
homes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where there's just that, where you don't talk to the children.
Yeah.
There's just no communication.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Or it's that time as a young girl,
Yes.
to actually take the child
Yes.
through that
Yes.
season in her life, explaining to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that definitely is an eye opener for many parents
yes.
in religious circles
Yes.
to understand the importance
Yes.
of being present.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
We can't say
yes.
use it as an excuse.
no,
We're
no, no,
working
no,
for
no,
God.
no.
You
But
know?
God's first love is family.
God's first love is family.
Yeah,
and children.
yeah, family first,
Yeah.
family first.
Yeah.
That is one lesson that I've learned out of there. I know it's
Yes.
not the lesson that you have in here, but
Yeah.
that
Yes.
reading the book,
Yeah.
that is number one that came to mind
Yeah.
when I browsed through it.
Yeah.
That, sometimes you think as a leader,
Yeah.
I myself is a leader, of a church.
Yeah.
Yes.
And especially if the church grows, and especially if the vision is bigger than yourself,
yes.
and your whole attention
Yes.
goes to ministry, so
Yeah.
you must keep things afloat. So now you find yourself disconnecting yourself
Right.
from the church
Yes.
and its vision,
Yes.
and the family and the family's vision, because every family have to have a vision too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's actually where a lot of things in the interim happens to children.
Yes.
And that's why a lot of children, especially PKs,
Yes.
always said that they don't want
Yes.
to be in the ministry.
Yes.
It leaves a bitter taste.
It leaves a bitter taste.
bitter
There's a
taste.
bitter taste in the
Yes.
mouth due
Yeah.
to the fact
Yes.
that this is what I see.
Yes.
This is what I experience.
I experience, our church, and now I don't want to dwell too long on that, but I think it's so important that
Oh,
we
it's
just,
vital.
that we just
vital.
deal with this right now.
Yes.
It's very
I
true.
remember as a child, I vividly remember, and it created such a fear in my life and a lack of confidence. Our parents being like in the same area in a church, I was so scared. I would get under the bed when I knew our parents wasn't there and lie under the bed. And then this one evening, I think I even ran down out of fear to the church in the dark to go look for my parents because we had absent parents. The reality is they were working for God, working for Jesus, saving souls,
Yes.
but their children, their own family
Yes.
was suffering.
Yes.
We had other people taking care of us. We had
Yeah, that's why I thank the Lord
and
for
you
my mom.
want your own parents.
Yeah. That's
No,
so
you
true.
So
definitely
that
do.
is what I
definitely
remember
do.
amidst the
And I think it's important,
The
Violet, to
yes.
have the parents
Yes.
present.
Because I
It's
think
very
it's one thing
important.
to say you're a parent,
yeah,
and it's another thing to be a present
yes.
Yeah,
parent.
absolutely
Because
so.
anyone can be
Absolutely
a
so.
parent.
Yeah.
But it's a choice
Yeah.
that you make to be a present and how present you are going to be
Yes.
in their lives. But I also feel like it's important to then also have a balance.
Yeah.
So whether it is from a religion perspective, but also for working parents,
Yeah.
whether it's in the corporate or whatever it is that you're doing, you still have to find that balance.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's still kids that need you.
Yes.
There's still kids that need you to be present.
Right.
And, for me, kids are not interested in what's happening to you outside.
Yeah.
And,
No, definitely.
they just want happy mom, present mom, involved, conversating. And for me, give them that
Yeah.
because it's not a lot.
Right.
But those are the things that they will remember when they grow up.
Definitely. You know, on that as well, we forget that it's the children, kids don't really want all the stuff that we think
And
we
many
need
parents
to provide.
Yes.
think it's
Yes.
the
They
stuff.
focus
They
on that.
sell the, they
Yes.
buy the children
Yes.
with stuff.
It's not the gadgets, it's
the
not
presence.
the toys, it's your presence. It's just
presence.
that being there for them, holding them,
Yes.
telling them it's going to be okay.
Yes.
And you know the sad part, Joan, is that these things has repercussions. It has like
Oh, definitely, hey.
Because I would like to know,
Definitely.
Simone, as an individual, then how did it affect you? How did it shape you? How did this family, you know, those dynamics shape you as a mother now, currently?
Yeah, because
As
you
a-
now
a
learned,
wife?
yeah.
Yeah. How did? Because now those were your role models?
Absolutely. But for me, I knew in my mind, even before I was married and had kids, I always knew that I wanted to be just a good mother. Not perfect, not great. I just want to be present
Right.
because I'm a very affectionate being.
Right.
So my love language is affection, like all day, every day. So because I was lacking that at home, I knew that that's the kind of mother I wanted to be to my kids.
Yeah.
The affectionate, the present. And even though it wasn't taught to me, I didn't see it, but somehow in my mind, I just knew I have to be different because I don't want my kids being 18, 20, 21
Yeah.
and having the same
Yeah,
conversation
that's
that
the
I
fact,
did.
eh?
So I
Right.
didn't want
That's
that.
so true.
So
Yeah.
for me, I had to be like different. Even
Yeah.
though I wasn't taught it, no one showed me, I'm going to somehow do it different. And I know people think it's a joke when I say it, but I winged parenting for the longest time until I kind of found a rhythm that works for me, that makes me happy, that makes the kids happy,
Yeah.
that allows us to have conversations and we can communicate. But it took me a long time to get there because I wasn't taught
Yeah.
how to be a parent. I didn't see from others
Right.
how to be a parent. How are you supposed to be? All I knew is the way it was for me was not the way it should be. That's all I knew as a kid.
That's right.
You know,
So
are we going to another?
yeah, I
question?
wanted to, otherwise we're going to stay too
Yeah.
long on this
Yeah,
thing.
because I
But
also
the thing
wanted
that we
to.
can learn from here is, as a parent, please be present.
Yes.
Be present in the lives of your children. It's not
Yes.
always money,
Yeah.
Yes.
you know, that you need, but your presence is vitally important so that the child can learn from the parent. You know, we are there. We have to take responsibility for our children and the
Yes.
growth of our
Yeah.
children
Yes.
in every sphere of life, because in today's life, you must understand it is important for you to groom your own child.
Yes.
Because the things that's going around that children learn from peers and stuff like that, you know,
Internet.
Yes.
the internet, what they see,
Yes. Yeah.
it's important for you to be
Yeah.
present in their lives. And this is the lesson that we actually, but I want to go over to chapter 5. I want you to actually tell us a little bit about, so you actually were in different relationships, obviously, as young people do.
Yes.
I think it's only me who said my first boyfriend will be my husband, and it really happened. But now you met your husband. So chapter 5 speaks about the addiction and the abuse that actually happened, that you saw.
Yes.
That, wow, there's actually a root that speaks louder
Yeah.
than any other voice. So if you get to the root of this thing, and take us through
Yeah.
what happened when you realized, when you actually, that day when you guys were in the car and he actually opened up
Yeah.
and said, I want to tell you something. If you can take me through that.
So that particular day, I will never forget. I had just given birth to our eldest daughter, Zoe, and we were on our way to our 6-week checkup. And he was quiet that whole morning. And I knew something was up, but again, my mind was focused on 6-week checkup, making sure that everything is good. Driving there, and I'll never forget, whenever we pass that spot, I always say to him, this is where you told me. So driving there, he says to me,
But before you go there, give me a run up, because there's a run up in the book. There's a lekker run up to all this, because there were arguments and there were things that happened in your life.
Yeah.
And you know, physically you became physical with each other. But you didn't understand what is going on with him.
yes,
So if you can
backtrack.
share,
Take us there.
take us back.
So when Rob and I met, like, he was a single dad, very upfront, honest about it. You know, we dated. Everything was fine on the surface. And I think once we got engaged and we found out that we were pregnant with our eldest son, I think all hell broke loose. And that being from his ex-girlfriend, from his son's mother. And when I say all hell, I mean all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
I think she probably realized that, listen, this
it's
man
over.
is serious,
Yeah.
like he's done with me. You know, I'm not going to be getting...
Maybe she had hopes.
Exactly. So everything just went south. So because of that and him trying to keep the peace for the sake of his son, we always got into it. I mean, she would rock up at our house whenever she felt like it. She would just call and say, I want my son. We would drop him off. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, phone is ringing. Please come get him because I can't handle him. Now we have to get up and fetch him. So she always wanted to inconvenience and make our lives difficult. And at the end of the day, in hindsight now, I can see he did that for the well-being of his son.
Right.
But in that moment, it's like she's being selfish, she's being, she's manipulating the situation. So then we get into arguments because I'm not going to have an argument
That's
with
right.
her.
Yes.
So him and I get into an argument.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you
always
wanted.
what happens.
Exactly.
right?
So for me, it starts off as a conversation. But because I have a strong personality, it can come across as I am being aggressive,
Yeah.
which was never the case. But he would take it as I'm being
Yeah.
combative and I want
Yeah.
to get into. So we would get into heated arguments. Whether I'm pregnant, whether I'm not pregnant, heated arguments to the point where it started getting physical and ugly, where we had conversations with both elders of our families, and every time you have these conversations, they would just say to me, then leave him. That's all.
Then
I
remember now, there's children
Yeah.
also.
Yes.
You have your
Yes.
you have your eldest son.
Yes. So even when both our boys were born, she still didn't stop. So she went on to taking him up for maintenance, but never happy with what the court agrees. Then she goes back. So I think we spent maybe 3 to 4 years in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court. We were like there almost twice, thrice a month because she was just never happy. And again, just wanting to cause that inconvenience and
that
make our lives
friction,
difficult.
yes.
And again, when I'm trying to have the conversation, like, you need to set boundaries. Like, we cannot do this. We've got
Yeah,
sons
yeah.
and we
Be
get
civil,
into,
man.
Yeah.
we get into an argument, we get into a fight, and it just snowballed. The
Yeah.
fights became regular. I started fighting back. Like, it just started becoming ugly. Then one day, I walked in and he was looking at porn. Now, remember, I come from
Christian background.
Christian background. I don't know about these things.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I've never
right.
seen it. Obviously, you hear about it,
Yeah.
but like in the distance. So for me, I was shocked. Like, what is this? What are we doing? And then he brushes it off. Brushed it off for a good couple of times, and then I was like, okay, no, there is a problem here. And I think for us, I'll always say, when we joined Crystal, my husband's from Durban, so he was Jehovah's Witness. So having a relationship with Christ or with Jesus, he never knew what that
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
And also for him, not having a male figure to look
Yeah,
up to
yeah.
for guidance, and this is
Yes.
how you should do things
Yes.
as a man, as a husband, as a
Did
dad.
he grow up with mom and dad? Both
So his
parents?
biological father passed away when he was 2 years old. So he was raised by his stepdad.
Okay.
So a lot of dynamics in his upbringing as well. So I think when we joined Crystal and we started going to the couples conference, light started going on. Like, is this what marriage is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
sound like? This is what God wants from us. What are we doing?
Yeah.
I'll always say therapy, counseling is what saved my
yes,
marriage.
Very
Yes.
important.
I will always say it. As much as I grew up, we from a generation where we don't do therapy.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
We
yes.
don't talk about
yes,
things.
Yes, a
Yeah.
lot of
Go
people.
and pray.
Yes.
Jesus will sort it out for
That's
you.
right.
And that's how we grew up,
Yeah.
and with him as well. So for us, first couple of sessions of therapy, you're a bit reluctant to tell this
Open up,
person,
yeah.
and
Yes.
but eventually you start opening up and you start talking and you start getting guidance, you start getting tools, and that's in that therapy session. That's when I learned my husband was addicted to porn. Again, not understanding anything, but what Pastor Neil taught me was there's always a root. No one wakes up in
Yeah,
the
that's a
morning
fact.
and just decides to, hey, I want to
That's
be a liar.
correct.
Hey,
That's
I want to
correct.
drink alcohol. Hey, I want to be addicted.
Yes.
Nobody does that.
Yes.
There's a root.
There is.
Something happened to that
Yes.
person for them to do what they're doing or to act the way that they are
Right,
acting.
right.
So for me, therapy opened up a lot, not just in me, but in him as well, because it made me realize it's what he's been through
Yeah.
that has brought him to the point where he was.
Right.
So again, the outlet, what we spoke about earlier, you have to find the outlet.
Absolutely,
Keeping
and the
things
right
in
outlet.
is never going to change you or the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
But finding the right outlet, because for me, I thought family was the right outlet for me.
Yeah.
Telling them that we got into a
Yeah.
fight and this
Yeah.
happened. Little did I know that family was actually happy that I am in this messed up relationship.
Yeah.
Or if I am asking you for advice, all you're saying to me is leave him, divorce him.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing there?
Yeah.
That's all I got. I never got solid advice.
Advice.
Why don't you go for therapy?
Counseling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys try this? I never
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah.
God knew why we had to come. Be invited to Crystal and come here, because I think if we didn't, we probably would have ended up being
Divorce.
divorced.
Yeah.
Um,
Another statistic.
Yes. So a build up to the conversation, lots of therapy sessions by ourselves with Pastor Neil, and then also as a couple. But he had more sessions with Pastor Neil than what
That's
I
right.
did. And one of his sessions, Pastor Neil said, you have to tell people. And Pastor Neil said, you decide who you want to tell first, but you have to now open it up.
Yeah.
Because the devil likes
Yes,
secrets.
secrets.
Yes.
He loves secrets because that's his
Yeah.
playground.
In the
Yes.
secrecy.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
Sundabites.
So-
Yes.
The more you keep it a secret, the more you give in the devil room to play.
Yeah.
So you decide what it is. So he said he pondered on it for about a week or so, and then he decided. I was the first person he told. So going back to driving to the 6 weeks checkup,
Yeah.
he says something I want to say to you, but let me get it off my chest. Don't interrupt. Don't say anything, because he knows me. Don't want to analyze. Let me say it. When I'm done, I'll tell you that I'm done, and then you can ask or say whatever you want to say. But never did I expect or even think he was going to say to me that I was sexually abused by 3 people growing up. Never in a... I knew that he...
Because you always hear it from
Yes.
females,
Yes.
but never...
No.
Males
Yes.
don't talk about
No.
things like that.
We don't expect it
Yeah,
to
no,
happen
that's
to
true.
boys.
No.
Yeah.
So
That's
for
true.
me, I never, that is not a conversation I expected.
Yes.
I never expected to hear that. I knew it would be something, but not that. So he broke it down to me, saying it was 2 of their neighbors in Durban, and one was his uncle, so his stepfather's brother, that they lived with for many years. And then I went into explaining to me, that's where the lying stems from. Because his uncle would say to him, if you don't come, like, for example, don't go to school, you come to me for the day. And if you don't come, I'm going to tell your father that you bunk school and you were at the shops, or lie to his parents, basically.
man.
So that's where the lying stems from. His uncle is the one that introduced him to porn, that got him hooked onto porn as what? A 10, 11-year-old little boy. So again, I say, there's a root. Nobody just decides
Yeah,
to
that's
be
very true.
an addict.
It's so cruel.
Something happened. So what that taught me was, now I'm the why person,
Yes.
as opposed to judging
Yes.
you
Yeah.
and
Yes.
like, why would she do that?
Yes.
Right.
Now I want to know why.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why did she do
Yeah.
that? Why
Yeah.
did she
Yeah.
say that?
Yeah.
There has to be a reason
Yeah.
for that. So as much as that was a difficult conversation to hear
Yeah.
in that moment, But I tell you, the conversation made sense to me.
Yeah.
My Robert Phillips puzzle, where so many pieces were missing, started making sense. Okay, this is why. This adds up.
That's
why.
right.
And therapy, 4 or 5 years of therapy between him and Pastor Neil, I can honestly say my husband is done with porn. I don't even have an issue with him lying to me anymore.
Wow.
And again, therapy, getting the tools.
Yes.
He chose
Dealing with it and not
Dealing.
going around it.
Yes.
It's very important to go straight through.
Absolutely.
But it's God's grace that
Yes.
He kept his sexuality
Yes.
intact.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, a lot of
remember-
people go
Yes.
over
Yes,
to the other
they
side.
go to the other side
Yeah.
when they are exposed
That's
to
true.
that. You know, so
Yeah.
it's only God's grace. And if I may ask, how old was your husband when he opened up?
So this was maybe in his late 30s.
Late 30s.
Yeah.
You know why I'm saying
Late
that?
30s.
According to psychologists, it's very hard for young men, boys, men,
Yes.
to open up when they're young.
Young. Yeah.
I think the older,
Older
they get,
yeah. They have
like
to
here
deal
in
with
their
it.
20s,
Yes.
it's difficult. They will rather
Yeah.
die before they're going
Yeah.
to tell anybody what
Yes.
happened to them. So for your husband, it was through God's grace, it
Yes.
was the right time.
Absolutely.
The timing was perfect for him to open up
Yes.
and say, this is what happened to me, so that he could be freed
Yes.
and get the right help.
Agree.
And like I said, thank God, hy's 'n man nog.
Yes.
Hy's nog 'n man. Hy's
Yeah.
intact.
Yeah.
You know, because others swing the
Yes.
other way. And
No, that's very true.
you know, and it's so sad.
It's very
Sometimes
true.
it's hard for us to understand. We judge
That's the
people
thing.
that
That's
is.
why I never judge.
Yeah.
I never judge
Yeah,
people like that.
I don't want to judge because, you know, having children myself,
Mm-hmm.
I realized your kids can go, like you call it, south.
Yes.
South enige tyd.
Yes.
Hulle dry
Yes.
skuins enige
Ja, nee,
tyd.
is 'n ware
And then
feit.
they remain your children.
Yes.
You haven't been taught that way. You know, you said something in your book about toxic, divorcing yourself from family. Why did you make that decision?
Therapy allowed my husband and I to see that both sides of our families wasn't good for us. And if we wanted to make it as a couple
Yeah.
and as a family unit, we had to let families go. And Pastor Neil said to us that isolate yourself, build the two of you until you
Because you're
solid.
now a family.
Yes.
You a
Yes.
family.
Yeah.
Find what works for the
Yeah.
Phillips
Yeah.
household.
That's a
Right, the
fact.
Phillips
Yes, there's certain
culture.
things that you can
That
take
you
from
can
your
take. Yes,
family
yes,
and his
yes.
family
Definitely.
and incorporate it.
That's right.
But build yourselves. And once you feel and know that the Phillips family is a unit and we are good, and if you want to go back and rebuild or reconnect those relationships,
Yes.
it's okay. But even if you feel like, you know what, it's okay.
Yeah.
We are fine where we are. That too is okay.
Yes.
But if I was not in therapy,
You
I would
not
have never known
Yeah.
that both sides of the family is not good for us.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we want to hang on to family a bit too tight, even
Yes.
though they're not good for us. But in that moment, you don't even realize that they're not good for you.
And you know,
Yeah.
sometimes it sounds ugly.
Yes.
It sounds like it's not the right thing
Yes.
to say.
Yes.
You know, but I always say, I even say to my children, you now have your family.
Yes.
Find what is good
Yes.
for your little family.
Yes. Very
You know,
important.
it's first your family,
Yes.
then the rest.
Yes.
Because
I agree.
that is important.
Yes.
We had to learn that for ourselves,
Yes.
my husband and I. We quickly came to the realization early in our marriage
Yeah.
that we're now a family.
Yeah.
We have to build
Yes.
Yes.
together,
Yes.
you know. And as much as it sounds ugly, it's the fact of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's certain things that is toxic
Yes.
that can come from families that you actually want to instill in your family, that toxicity,
Yes.
whatever they
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
No? And it's just a ripple effect all the time.
Yes.
Repeating itself,
Yes.
Yeah.
repeating itself.
Yes.
But if you want to stop it, it's vitally important for
Very.
you to get the good
Yes.
in
Very.
your
Yes.
little
Yeah.
family. You know,
You know, in Simone's case, you didn't have the support of your family, right, Mom? Then, Joan, we get the other side. Parents who cling to their children.
Yes.
You find that a
Emotionally
lot,
Yes.
yeah.
to their children.
Yes.
They do not want to let
Yeah,
go.
no, true.
And the very first argument that the children have, kom huis toe. Kom, los hy ding.
Yeah.
Los hy ding. Jy het nie nodig om al die goede te vat nie. You know,
It's a
I
fact,
love
yeah.
the fact that one
It's very
mom
true.
said to her daughter, I can't remember who it was that related the story. The daughter called and said, Mom, blah, 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 you know, this man is doing X, Y, Z. And the mom said, het jy jou geslaan? No, Mom. Okay, goodbye. Near is die phone. You know, sometimes we have this
Yes.
thing that we want to save our children.
yeah.
We
And
want to
you can't,
shelter.
eh?
You can't.
It's
They must
it's
live
their
their
own,
life.
it's their own family.
It's it, and their journey.
What
as
do
well.
you want?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
As a couple,
Yeah.
for your children.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, how are you gonna navigate through circumstances?
Yes.
The two of you.
Yes. So we
You
don't
know,
even allow, you know, those type of
you
parents
don't.
don't
You
allow.
can't. You
them-
can't. You
Yes.
can't
Because
allow it.
If I listen to your story, jy sê hulle het baie baklei. O, Here
Ja.
Jesus. Kyk, I said daai eerste klap as
Ja,
ek uit die huis uit. Now, if you even, you know,
Yeah.
went through that where you physically fought back and you stayed, tell me, how did you do that?
I always, from the age of 14,
Yeah.
I prayed for my husband. Didn't know what he would look like. I never said to God, I want, in terms of describing him in a physical manner.
Yeah.
I had no idea what he would look like, but I knew characteristics
Oh,
that I
okay.
wanted. So I prayed and I said to God, this is the man that I want. And when we were dating, that's the man I saw.
Oh,
So at the back of my mind, I always knew this is the man that I prayed for. But then I used to say to God, but why am I here? Because as much as he showed me back then when we were dating that this is who he is, this is now a completely different man. And I don't like him very much. And I always used to pray and ask God, like, why? Why would you keep me here? Why am I not getting out of this? And he would be silent. No response whatsoever.
Wow.
Until Crystal Ministries happened to us.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so you
sometimes
see
God-
you see the importance
yes.
of actually also be willing
Yes.
to be teachable.
Yes.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
willing to be taught.
Yes.
Willing to actually make the thing work.
Yes.
Because yes, it can work.
Yes.
Yeah.
It depends on the will that you have.
Yes.
Is this the will of the Father for me to leave
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or did the Lord somehow connect us together?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, in ways that we can actually help one another.
Yes.
And you see the beauty in the marriage later.
Yes.
Get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now you can see the beauty of
Absolutely.
it because you went through certain things
Yes.
that was hurdles
Yes.
in the
Went
in
through
the
the
marriage.
fire,
yes.
You went through a lot to
Yeah.
actually get there. In the first place, when I was reading, I was saying to myself, "Oh Lord, thank God, I wasn't Simone who had a baby mama who treated me the way she did. That I spent a day in the cells because of a baby mama.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna
Yeah.
thank
Don't
God
say
for the
it.
person
Don't
that you are. I think
Yeah.
that's also just how I saw how the Lord can actually help you
Yes.
through all that. I mean, that can bring a lot of anger.
Absolutely.
You know, it can bring a lot of bitterness
Yes.
to you. So I couldn't get myself that you could stay so calm. But I now and I realize that it's because of the God that is within you.
Amen.
You know, there's a lot of baby mamas who actually uses
The kid.
a innocent
Yes.
child,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, and not thinking
Yes.
that, hey, in the long run, it's coming for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That very
it's coming
same
for you
child.
if,
Yeah.
unless
Yes.
God by His grace
Yes.
helps this boy to understand
Yes.
that this is what had happened.
Yeah.
And I love the message that you have for him,
Yeah.
actually, in the book as well, that he knows
Yes.
that his father loves him.
Yes.
You know, but because and that is a show that we actually have to have.
Yeah.
I know I had it in the past, but I think it's so important to speak to baby mamas. You know, not to use children
Yeah.
as how can I say, as bait for your
Yes.
anger.
Yes.
And the anger switches, it turns to bitterness. I
It
think.
does.
And the bitterness is the danger because
And bitterness kills, no?
it kills you.
does.
Bitterness
It kills
destroys.
you because they say there's no fuel like a woman scorned. You know,
Yes.
so the things that a woman
Yes.
scorned would get up to.
Yeah.
Ladies, if you're listening, be careful or watching.
Yeah,
be very
no, that's a
careful.
fact.
Guard your heart and your mind and let it go. If it didn't work for you, if it's not meant for you, just let it go. Just because you have a child with him,
Doesn't
don't
mean-
use that child like Joan said as bait or as a pawn or just
I
like
agree.
up and down.
And
Because
also, beloveds, if you want to read further what she went through with the baby mama, this is the book,
11 years.
11 years of nappies.
And
So
Yeah.
I really honestly want you to get the book, because it is one of those books that you don't
Yeah.
want to put down.
Yeah.
It is definitely.
Yes.
It's a life story that
Yeah.
you say to yourself, hell no.
Yeah.
If that was me,
Yes.
I think I was gonna react.
I would not survive
Yeah,
it.
I was actually gonna do it a different way, But
Yeah.
thank God for different personalities. Thank God for His Holy Spirit,
Yes.
actually, to guide you, to lead you. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And also, you could have given up. You
Yes.
and Rob.
Yeah.
Rob could have
Right.
given up and say,
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
what, I'm
Yeah.
done with this.
Yes.
But thank God that you
Yes.
guys are still together today.
Yes.
Having 4 children together.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the one child of Rob
Yeah.
that has
Yeah.
also became
Yeah.
part of your family,
Blended family,
and that you
beautiful.
actually allowed him in your space.
Yes.
We salute you for that, because
Yes.
that is commendable. It's actually,
Absolutely.
and now that the child is growing up, he will always know when he's bigger
Yeah.
that I have a refuge.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to keep that space open.
Yeah.
So while we only have a few minutes left, we didn't even touch the
There's
the,
some-
the,
the
the
lessons
surface
or the- yeah.
and even
There's
the
some-
lessons. There's such a lot
Even
in
the
this
work-
book, guys, that you actually can get out. So you went through a lot of circumstances where you lost your home, you lost your cars, you lost things that was repossessed and stuff like that. Oh, Here, weet julle. And yet you survived. You survived. You know what I'm saying? And that is why Violet actually asked you. So how did you do that? How did you survive the circumstances
Yeah.
of life? How did you maneuver your way through? It's really like a narrow path.
Yes.
That you
Could have lost
actually
your
have
mind.
to.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh, you have to
Yeah.
maneuver.
go.
But what went through your mind when you had to go stay at different homes with other people? Have to now again rip your children out of the comfort that they were in for a while, and now you have to move again because this landlord, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What went through
Yeah.
what goes
kept you
through
going?
a woman's mind? What went through your
Yeah.
mind? How did you do it? How did you survive it? Ek weet nie hoe om te vra nie.
I know it probably sounds cliche when I say this, but for me, all those years, it's looking at the 4 of them. That was it. That was fuel, motivation enough to put the next step forward and just keep going, irrespective of what was happening
Yeah.
around us. As long as they were there, knowing that they were loved in the midst of all these things, that was it for me.
Now, did you ever blame your husband? Because I know many times we actually latch out on the husbands.
yeah,
we
we
say,
do.
yeah, look, if
As
you
if
can
I
just
don't-
get a
you-
job,
you
if you
can
can
just-
just
yeah.
get a job that can give us enough money. You know what I'm
Now the
saying?
children have to sleep
And
on
that
the
is what
floor
woman
and-
does in today's society. That is what woman
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Because divorce became
Yes.
just anything.
Yes.
I can
Yes.
anytime just, in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't need to take this. I
Yes.
don't need to,
yeah, I don't have to. I don't have to live with this.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
don't
they
wanna
say.
live- Yes.
Oh
yeah.
no, I don't
Yeah.
have to live with this.
Yeah.
And your husband was out of a job for a while.
9 months.
No.
Tell me a little bit about that situation.
So when he lost his job, it was no fault
Yeah.
of his. And I always say, if there's one thing I will take from him, is his work ethic. I have never seen anybody push the way he does, always number one, wherever he goes. Like, his work ethic blows my mind. So for me,
For the mere fact that you are still together, I can actually salute that man.
Yes.
Honest
Yes.
before God, I can.
Yes.
like, just the way you work. So for me, him pushing out and applying for jobs and going for interviews, he was doing his bit.
Yeah.
So in those moments, all you ask God is just open a door for him. Like, can we just catch a break? I never blamed him because there was nothing he could do. People lose their
Yeah,
jobs
man.
all the
Yeah,
time. It's not like he went and did something wrong and got himself fired.
And these
now,
things are happening.
so for me, in that moment, I never thought that it's your fault that we going
Yes.
through. It never crossed my mind. It was just a matter of, let's just keep applying. Let's get you to the interview. Let's get you to the next job. Like, let's just get you to where you need to get to.
Yeah.
Because once you get there, it means the rest of the family gets to where we need to.
Yeah.
What I did blame him for was his ex-girlfriend. That drama, I absolutely put on him wholeheartedly because I felt like he never put the necessary boundaries in place. But whenever it came to our finances, no. Him not having a job, no, because it's out of his control. There's nothing he can do. If he's getting up and doing his bit in terms of applying and going for the interviews, and what comes back from the interview is not on him. If he went in and gave his 110%, there's nothing more we can do.
Yeah.
But just move on. Because for me to knock him even further, he's already feeling a certain way
Yeah.
because he's the leader, he's the head of the house, and he's unemployed. So he already feels that he's not man enough.
Yeah.
How am I contributing
Yes.
if I'm bashing him and saying it's because
Yes.
of you?
You're right.
It's not helping.
Yeah.
All I can do
Absolutely.
is pray and encourage.
Yes.
We got through this day. Tomorrow's a new day. Let's see just keep going. And 9 months later,
No, you go, girl. You go, girl. Because that is when you become one. So I'm gonna just go through the few people on the line that says, Sonia Foster says, morning, my beloved sisters. Greetings, Simone. Thanks for sharing your story. And then Tyro Delamo is on the line, and then also Lady J Jacobs is on the line. That's actually Lady J Jacobs Mateman, who says, good morning, gorgeous queens. And then Megan, what is it, Govern Sammy?
yes.
Yeah, she's on the line.
Oh, wow.
Sonia says, wow, Simone, so profound. Just by sharing is amazing. Sandy Boyson's, good morning, sisters. Lessons of life. She also says, oh, that's awesome. My song wasn't easy, but it was worth it by CeCe Winan. So I can relate to you. Powerful. Sonia Foster says, thanks, at Simone. I relate to you so much growing up. Hence today, and that involved mom extra sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, and she is extra on many occasions, really.
Yeah.
And then Sandy also says, finding a balance is truly important. Elton Biggie Bake says, greetings, ladies. Kezia Ashley Horsley is on the line. She says, fire, fire signs. And then Lady J Mateman as, wow, Simone, your story speaks volumes.
Yes.
Such an inspiration. You're strong and such an overcomer. I agree totally and completely. Kezia says, powerful. And then Sonia says, you speak with so much wisdom, clarity, and understanding, Simone. At Joan and Violet, thank you for asking the right questions. Lady J says, that's so true and deep. We need to focus and build our own families. It's hard, but it's important to keep your own family healthy. I fully agree.
Yes.
And I don't know how to pronounce this name, but I think it's Depo says, Mummy. And then Lady J says, 2-hour show, please continue. So she don't want us to stop. You see, it's lacquer, but you don't want us to stop. Please get the book. 220 is not
You
a lot
will
to
not
ask
put
for
it
this
down.
book. And I promise you, it's an easy read.
Yeah.
I think you will be able to read this book within a day if you have the time.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you,
very
because
nicely
we
written.
browsed through it
Yeah.
in a few hours. 2 hours, I think
Yeah,
it
2
was,
hours.
where we actually just browsed through the book, and
Yeah.
we just had to speed read the book. But
Yeah.
I must be honest, last night I was saying, it's Valentine's Day, and I must give time to my husband. So I didn't even go through the book because Violet took the book home, and I don't even think she did
I didn't
anything.
either because it was Valentine's, so
course.
I had to pay attention to my husband.
You know, I wanted to still ask you, but maybe we can quickly go into it because I think, we're done actually. We have 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes left. So I want you to actually explain to us the tools that you actually give to be intentional. Because I think that speaks volumes at the end of this book.
Yes.
You actually give tools to be intentional. So maybe we can speak about the tools. If you maybe know it off heart, or must I open it there?
I remember a few. I think for me, when you make the conscious decision of becoming intentional about yourself, your life, who you are, it has to start with self. So for me, 29 and a half, that's when I turned Simone Phillips upside down, and I said I want to get rid of everything that I was taught, everything that was shown to me. I want to figure things out for myself. So I started figuring out who I am. So finding yourself, becoming self-aware. Who am I? What do I want? What do I like? Where am I going? What do I want to do with self? So for me, the self part is probably the most important, because we're so focused on others. Husband must be fine, kids must be fine. The same gentleness and kindness and patience we give to our spouses and our children, give it to yourself. On your journey of becoming intentional, just be kind, be gentle. Everything is not going to happen the way you want it or as quick and as fast as you want it to happen. Just be patient. It will happen. What's meant for you will find you. The minute you have to start pushing and shoving and doing things by yourself, then it means it's not yours. Right. It will find you. Relax. Be calm. Be gentle. Talk to yourself. Date yourself.
Yeah,
Be nice with yourself.
Take yourself out for coffee.
Yeah.
Date yourself. Enjoy your own
Yes.
company, your own
Yes.
conversations.
Yeah.
Drive yourself if you can drive. If you can't, go and get
your
your
license.
license. Drive. Do
Yes.
things for you. Do things that make you happy.
And you don't have to look the way you feel.
No.
I think
Yes.
that's important
Yes. Yeah.
for a woman especially.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to look the way you feel.
Yes.
Don't be downcast. Don't
Yes.
don't neglect yourself.
Yes. And
That
it's
is
okay to not
important.
be okay.
Right.
But I think what's also
Yes.
what we need to remember on the journey of becoming intentional is we've got a lot of hats that we wear.
Yeah.
It's mother, it's wife, it's sister, it's employee, it's this, it's that. And we get so lost in all of
Yes.
that we forget who we are.
Yes.
We have to come back.
Right.
Come back to you. Come home.
Yeah.
You are your home. Come
Yes.
back. Find out what it is that's happening here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the minute you operate from a place of I know who I am, it's very difficult. It's very easy for you to go into
Yeah.
the world and now be the sister, the wife,
Yeah.
the mother, and all these other hats that you have
Yeah.
to wear. But you also have to take the hats off sometimes.
That's
And
correct.
just be
That's correct.
Pastor Violet, Pastor Joan, Simone. Just be you, because you can't always be everything for everybody else.
Yeah, no, you
So
can't.
it's a bit selfish, the
Yes.
journey of becoming intentional,
Yes.
but selfish in a good way,
Yes.
Yeah.
because it's for your betterment
Yes.
at the end of the
That's
day.
right. Yeah.
And for me, I always say, I am worthy of the
Yes.
betterment, of having better,
Yeah.
of doing better, of giving
Yes.
better. So I will go through the journey because I know at the end, Simone is going to benefit. And when
Yeah.
I benefit, the people around me, the circle, gets to
Yes.
benefit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even go into the 15 years of slave.
Oh my word!
Being a
it's-
slave.
That is the reason
anyway,
why
yeah.
they need to.
Yeah, that's why you have to get
You've
the book,
got to
guys.
read the
Because
book.
really, honestly speaking, you can learn a lot from this book. And also, if there's a book within you and you have a life story like that, there is actually a producer, what must I say?
Publisher.
Publisher.
Yes.
There is a publisher by the name of Inspired,
Amazing.
Darren August, that you can actually contact, guys, and he can help you through your journey.
Yes.
A very, very, very inspirational guy, to be quite honest with you. So we actually want you to get that book out.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And let it go on the shelves. And if it
Yes.
doesn't go on the mainstream shelves,
Yes.
get it out. we will invite you, and it will come on here, and I'm sure Biggie will invite you on the Aldo show.
Right.
So there's a lot of platforms that you can actually speak and be that voice
Yeah.
Yeah.
that God actually wants you to be. So we came to the end of our show, and I'm going to ask last comments from you guys, and then say ta-ta.
Sure. This conversation went so fast. And I was still burning to ask this beautiful young lady about her tattoos, because it's like, you know,
Well, yeah.
what was the inspiration, especially coming from her
Yes.
kerk background, the church. Why all the tattoos? Was it before she got saved? Is it after? But okay, maybe we can have a one-on-one for
Yes,
that
we can.
conversation, because I just and please, no judgment.
All good.
I don't have anything against tattoos.
good.
Like I said, yeah, I think if I was younger, I would also have a tattoo. But yeah, this was a wonderful show. Thank you so much, Simone, for you know, putting your narrative, writing it down and sharing it with the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
A beautiful story. You know, what I like about your story is that it has a happy ending, especially in our days. You know, in nowadays.
Yes.
And it's so wide, broad. You
Yeah,
touch on
very.
you've
And it's real.
it's so real. You went through so
Real.
much, and you shine like a diamond. You really look good.
Thank you.
Jy lyk nie of jy deur die vuur was en deur die lewe. Kyk jy as
Jy
ek
ruik nie
was-
na smoke
jy,
nie.
you don't not at all.
You don't smell
God
like
has been
smoke.
so gracious
Yes,
to you.
yes.
Yeah,
So
God
thank
took
you
you
so
through.
much, Joan and Simone. This was just wonderful.
Okay, Simone,
So
your last comment.
everyone else, yeah, just get the book.
Get it.
I
Get
got
it, get
mine.
it,
I
get
got
it.
my copy. Get your book.
I think for me, don't ever let your circumstance or even your bloodline
Yeah.
define who you are.
Yes.
There's more to you than what people say, what your bloodline says. There's so much more. Just keep digging, you will find it. And I think, importantly for me, as a woman, let us stop existing and start living.
Yeah,
Yes.
start
It's time
living.
to live.
Start living intentionally, guys.
Yes.
So, yes, we came to the end of our show. We love you. God loves you best. And we know that God's going to do it for you. What He did to Simone, He can do for you. So, it's never time to give up. But it's time to live intentionally. I love you. God loves you best. Go in the peace of the Lord. Until next week. Mwah.
In the shadows, as I look upon my life, in the shadows, there's a passion inside.